Good evening, everybody. Hope you guys are having yourselves a rockin' Monday out there. My name is Scott Schertzen, alongside Mr. JD Walker. Mr. Jeff Valentino is, of course, producer extraordinaire, posting the pictures, sending the comments, handling all of that fun stuff there. And welcome to Stream Punk Talkin' Junk. Before we get started on all the things we're going to be covering tonight, JD, I have to look at your shirt.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until somebody loses an eyeball, and then hey, free eyeball.
So you know what? There you go. So basically, it's all fun and games to lose an eyeball, but you know what? You get something out of it. There is some positivity out of it. You know, right. Maybe you can get an extra eye out of it. You never know. You might get something out of that. So, all right. So as always, basically, you can find us on Stream Punk Sports and also on Tales from the Film Set on YouTube right now. It's being broadcast on both sides. We're going to be talking a little She-Hulk right now, a little USF failure is what I'm going to be calling it, whether they're deciding that or not. Also, we got some news of the world of the weird. A couple of stories that I want to drop for you guys. Jeff already knows what they are, but you do not know at this point. So I'm going to basically enjoy getting your reaction to it. But how you doing otherwise?
It's been a crazy past few days, but you know, kind of getting a little more settled today.
Good crazy or bad crazy? Or basically Fifth Amendment crazy.
It's both.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
All in all, we're okay. Put it that way.
I know. Yeah, you're dealing with a new living situation. I will soon be dealing with a new living situation. It's hard, I think, the older you get to conform to other people in your life, and just sharing a roof and everything like that is no picnic. It's not easy, especially the older you get. So. All right, so I figured let's start things off here. The She-Hulk trailer for Disney Plus came out just recently. This was something that was much anticipated, a lot of curiosity, a lot of intrigue. She-Hulk has always been a very, very popular character, except when the trailer came out, people had the same reaction that they did when we saw the original Ugly Sonic. We saw a trailer with She-Hulk in there, as I'm dubbing down below, Shrek Hulk, because some people have actually said that She-Hulk reminds them a lot of Fiona from Shrek. I think Jeff's trying to pull those images up right now. If you can do that, that'd be fantastic. But have you seen the trailer by any chance or no?
I have not. So okay. This will be a fresh reaction to this Nightmare Fuel. All I've seen was the screen grab in our little preview shot that we did.
Okay. So you haven't seen basically the picture yet. Jeff sees. Can we pull that up, do you think, or no? We can't pull that up. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull it up for you. So which one do we want to do? Never find the one I'm looking for when the time comes, you know? All right. So I'm just going to give you guys a piece right now.
Yeah. And for those watching live on YouTube, you can comment, and we should be able to see the comments on our screen.
Quite indeed. So here's what we're going to do. So this, for starters, is some of the comparisons we're drawing.
Bring on the Nightmare Fuel.
Yes. So there is basically our new character in this case, our new She-Hulk. It's been drawing, like I said, a lot of comparisons with the fact that it just looks bizarre. They can't really figure out exactly what it is to it. The one picture I'm really
thinking Fiona. I'm thinking more like a non-copyright infringing. I'm just blanked on her name from Guardians of the Galaxy. The Zoe Saldana character.
Okay.
Yeah, like it looks more like a horror, like one of those like Chinese knockoff versions.
It looks like in this case Gamora. Yeah.
Yeah, Gamora.
Took me a second to remind you.
It's like a knockoff of Gamora, like it's sort of like it, but not really. You know, so you don't get sued for making knockoff merchandise or what have you.
Exactly. It's Mamora. It's like Gamora, but basically it's just enough, basically, just to be able to avoid the illegality of it. This one especially has gotten a lot of people pissed off. Because in this case, if you look at the size of that hand.
That's like the that just makes me think of the joke from Archer about Lana having man hands, like the running gag. That's definitely in play here. But
yeah,
wow, this is with a dress that looks like it's jacked from WandaVision or something, or some other retro, like a 1950s type dress.
Hmm.
A little bit, that's the
And I mean, I can see the WandaVision side
yeah.
of it.
Like
I can see like this was the
my
what's
former
that?
roommate was big into like vintage fare. She had a dress that looked a lot like this,
You know,
so that's why I thought of it. But just
yeah, it does
why?
have a classic
What are they going?
She-Hulk.
What are they going for here?
I think they're trying to go with both badass and sultry at the same time. I mean, that was one of the things about She-Hulk that you always had like this mix of both there.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jeff thinks it's one of those iconic covers, which maybe it was. Maybe this is something that the fans would be like, okay, I recognize that from She-Hulk 122 or something. But what is it? And this is something that you had talked about. I know that your partner posted about this. That animation seems to be changing a lot, as far as in some ways the quality and also the hand-drawn approach that you had mentioned. I'm going to take it a step further and say, what is it about Disney that's struggling right now? If you see what at the end of The Mandalorian, what Luke Skywalker looked like. I mean, I love the fact that Luke Skywalker showed up in Mandalorian season 2, but when people saw it, a lot of people were like, "Dear God, what happened there?"
They were clearly
And
rushing to finish it under budget. Is probably what
maybe
happened.
that's it. Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's been a change in animation over the past 20 years, going away from traditional hand drawn to CGI as technology has advanced. But
Hmm.
like, while I don't work in this field, the funny part is I actually know somebody who does, who would be great in this chat. But they're I mean, when you have the technology or ability to do something, you still need to put out a quality product.
Hmm.
So just you can. It's easy to be lazier
Hmm.
from an animation standpoint. With technology as a fallback, but it's more obvious. You can. Hey, it's not saying that it's impossible to be lazy hand drawn animation. We've had plenty of that. There's been plenty of that over the years.
Hmm.
It's easier to slack off.
Sure.
And okay, this front picture, I get more of the Shrek vibe here for some
Yeah.
reason.
And that's a really good picture there. Thank you. That's Jeff. That's exactly that's a much better one
Yeah,
than I had right there. I mean, you're showing She-Hulk in a lot of different ways. You're seeing the fun loving there, the sultry, and then you see this weird, like I said, almost upgraded version of Fiona from Shrek, and it's kind of creepy in some way. Especially that picture right in the middle kind of creeps me out right now
a
because
little bit.
it's like staring right at me. Oh,
This is what the I
yeah.
just
And this is the latest Disney Plus thing, which is going to open up another question I'm probably going to bring up tomorrow's show. But yeah, it's a little unnerving, isn't it?
it's more than a little unnerving.
Yeah.
This isn't quite cat's bad, so I won't go that far.
I don't think anything can be cat's bad.
So it's not to that level, but this is weird.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm just theorizing that maybe it's one of those things that they brought this out just like they did with Sonic, seeing what the outrage was, and then quick hire a bunch of people
Yeah.
in post to clean it up. Because you saw what happened with like Ugly Sonic versus, and I hate to say Ugly Sonic, but Ugly Sonic versus current Sonic. I wonder if Disney is going to do the same thing where they're going to go back into post real quick before this gets released and just do massive touch ups.
I wouldn't surprise me, but Disney is more stubborn usually.
Mm,
So I'm not sure if they'd be as receptive to feedback, but they should be. I don't
yeah.
know if they actually will, but that might. If there's enough fan outrage, maybe they will go and redo it. I don't know what the
Mhm.
costs were for doing that when it came to Sonic, as far as going back and making the adjustments. If
Mhm.
they, the Disney's kind of in a rough place right now, as you said. So would they be willing to undertake those costs to redo it? I don't know.
They did 6 day a
But
week
also,
reshoots of Multiverse of Madness, which clearly worked out. But
yeah, and they're basically just I don't know. I'm this really doesn't like.
Oh, he's Jeff is prepping us another bad CG
Okay,
coming.
what do you got here, Jeff?
Oh yes, that's. Oh my god. Oh my
What
god.
the? This
Whoa.
this is the
Oh
nightmare
my
fuel
god.
I
I
was
never even
expecting.
saw that. Crab
These
people. Crab people. Whoa, dude. Oh my god. I never. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. I mean, Hulk looks fine. I mean, She-Hulk.
I mean, Hulk is Hulk, fine. You get that,
Yeah.
but just all right.
Whoa. Okay, that's almost more creepy than the last one was.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Well, thank you, by the way, for letting us know and prepping us ahead of time that basically we're going to have another horrid thing to look at. By the way, if you wonder what's going to be in my nightmares now, take a guess right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best effects is Lou Ferrigno. Although that was David Banner, not Bruce Banner. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll come back and they'll do something to fix that up, make it a little cleaner. With Sonic, it clearly worked. People had the fan outrage. Ugly Sonic made an appearance in the Chip 'n Dale's movie. Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers had a scene in there with Ugly Sonic signing autographs at like a convention as Ugly Sonic. He has become his own thing now. So the fans have actually talked about Ugly Sonic getting his own series. And I think in this,
if you want to do it outside of canon, I guess that could work. That's like there was a running joke on Colbert for a while about how there was some kind of internal emails or something leaked from the studio that there was the first version of Cats, which was a nightmare top to bottom. But the first version they had of animation, the cats had buttholes.
I did hear that. Yes,
but luckily this didn't get to the internet outrage level. At least not for that one item, because there was enough outrage around it to begin with. But they edited those out. So somewhere there exists a butthole cut of the Cats movie. Hashtag release the butthole cut.
Hashtag make cats great again. But I can almost guarantee somebody out there has probably made a fan edit to add the buttholes back in. Maybe specifically
Rule 34. I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say probably starting with Taylor Swift, and then probably going to the bizarre thing like James Corden or Dame. What is it? Judi Dench, I think, was in there too. You start with Taylor Swift's butthole, and then you kind of work to like the weird and quirky and creepy.
Idris Elba, I'm sure.
Was he in that too?
Yes.
Okay.
He went from filming whichever Fast and the Furious movie they were up to. He went from that to going right to Cats, and he told a hilarious story about how when they were approaching the end wrap, and they were all talking, and Idris Elba and Dwayne Johnson were talking about what their next projects were going to be, and he's like, I'm doing Cats, and The Rock is like, you're what? And gave him, as you would imagine, an unbelievable amount of shit for that for the rest of their time together.
And it's funny, The Rock, first and foremost, he will rip on his own stuff. I remember he did something where he just torched the fact that he did Doom. He's like, he's talking to, I think it was John Cena. He's like, listen, I get it when you do bad films. For God's sakes, I did Doom and I did G.I. Joe. And
I know he's joked about the Tooth Fairy too.
The Tooth Fairy. I think we talked about that. And then wasn't there something? Was Tooth Fairy? That wasn't the one where he had the kid, right? Was that the one? There was like an internet meme where he's looking over his shoulder. Was that Tooth Fairy?
I forget if that was from the over the shoulder meme. I forget if that's from Tooth Fairy or one of the other ones he did. He did a few kids movies early on because when he first got in acting, because he wanted to make movies that his kids could watch. Because that was why he started out with kids movies. And
he still pretty much does. I mean, he's never really done anything R-rated. I don't know. What's The Rock done that's the most?
Probably the Netflix one with what the?
Yeah, well, that we haven't gotten to that one yet
on the screen.
Oh God, yes, Scorpion King. I was at some point we were going to talk about Scorpion King. Yeah, that might have been his first movie too.
And the level
That
of
was, I
early
believe,
2000
2001 or
CGI checks out
2002.
for
So even then, that was bad. JD, any thoughts? Have you seen that one or no?
Scorpion King, no.
Okay.
I'm-
Yeah, that was actually The Mummy Returns. That was the second one, which ended up being a sequel. I mean, Scorpion King became a spin-off series based on that character. That was basically the final boss from Mummy Returns. But that was your CGI for 2001.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that checks out for that level of technology for back then.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah. 10 years prior though, you had Terminator 2, which still holds up.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah,
does.
the Rock hasn't really done any dark movies that I can think of. I mean, every single movie, he's ex-cop, ex-military, ex-something to explain why he's as jacked as he is. Turned farmer, zookeeper, something like.
Yeah, probably the dirtiest that I could think of was was Baywatch, and then also I'm drawing a blank on the movie with Ryan Reynolds on Netflix with the jewel heist.
Oh yeah, the one with Gal Gadot. I forget the name. I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, it was the Red Notice. Thank you.
Red Notice. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's probably
but that's dirty more because of the presence of Ryan Reynolds than anything else.
Fair. I mean, I know The Rock was the highest paid actor, I think, in 2019, pulling in, I think it was $89.1 million that year. Number two was, if I remember correctly, and there's a reason specifically I know this. Number two, I believe, was Robert Downey Jr. at like $68 million.
Was that the year of Endgame?
No, that was the year prior. I think 2019.
Oh, okay.
I mean, unless maybe perhaps that was 2020 that year. I don't know, but that was a COVID year, so I want to say 2019. Irrespective, you can survive on that if you have to.
Yeah, I think they're okay.
Yeah, they're probably okay. Yeah, you get your residuals when basically one of your movies airs in Bosnia.
Mm-hmm.
Your $7.19 check,
right.
or in my case, 19-cent check.
I was going to say, don't you get like 31-cent checks for Law and Order episodes?
Yeah, I literally do for the Deuce or a couple of the things that pop up every now and again.
Yeah,
they show up and it's a cup of coffee. It's nowadays it's like a quarter of a gallon of gas if I'm lucky. It's when something airs in Lithuania or something like this, I'll get a check for. I've gotten as low as like 5 cents. But what drives me crazy is it's still not direct deposit. So they have to print it out. They have to mail it. They got to burn the paper on it to send me a physical check that's like 18 cents.
I work in that. I work in that industry. Each one of those checks, like from start to end of the process, costs like probably like $15.
Yeah,
$15-$20 depending on their systems or whatever. And since they're coming from all different jurisdictions, they can't combine all those into one check. So you get 20 checks for 10 cents, 12 cents, whatever. They can't combine that into, hey, we'll send you a check when the balance gets to over $10.
Exactly. Throw it in an escrow account. Let me sit until it's like $25 or whatever, and we'll deal with that.
Yeah, because it's a lot. They are absolutely losing money on sending you those checks. It's not just cost of postage, which in itself is more than the check.
And not just me, but the thousands of other people that they send them out to.
Right.
Because people that did movies in 1950 are still getting those residual checks. So all of those checks, thousands to tens of thousands of dollars, or tens of thousands of checks go out physically every single month. And all of them 9 cents, 12 cents, $8 maybe, but oh God, Christ, yeah. No, that's not the reason why. There's other reasons why SAG lost the health insurance, but moving on to the next topic, USFL. Boy, I can really say all sorts of dirty words right there after that one. Switching topics quickly as possible to get me away from the tangent I can go on.
Yeah.
The USFL had an interesting quirk the other day. I know, JD, you and I talked about this, but they cut out of the Saturday night broadcast on NBC to go to local news. So there's 2.5 minutes left in the game, and they're like, you know what? Goodbye, we're done. And they went right to NBC local news, which I came out of a commercial break and suddenly went from, watching this Birmingham, Michigan game to suddenly finding out about a riot that happened in Long Branch, New Jersey, because apparently some people down at the shore went apeshit. I was really confused by that, and it turned out, according to Twitter, all of the stations had basically switched over to local broadcast. Game was still going on though.
Yeah. I'd read after the fact about whatever happened in Long Branch, but I guess that makes a bit more sense since it's a breaking news kind of thing. But I remember that they mentioned this in the 30 for 30 documentary on the first version of the XFL, that one of the things that did in that league was the fact that the NBC was getting major backlash from the local affiliates because with the economics of TV and how they've changed, really local news is essentially the only thing that local affiliates can make money off of. Like that is direct to, WNBC, in New York, CAO, or wherever. Like the individual affiliates only make money from local news. So if there's a terrible lead in, and those are mostly lead independent ratings. So if there's a bad lead in, they're not getting ratings on the news. They're losing money. So if something is bad enough that affiliates are pushing back, that's a huge red flag.
But my question is, why would they schedule a Saturday night game on NBC knowing that may be a problem? Why not put it on like FS1? Why not put it on ESPN or someplace else where it can go over and be perfectly fine?
Well, another thing that they would probably do is, I'm sure they just said, hey, check out the end of the game on Peacock. Did they do that? Because that would probably, I'd imagine that would be what NBC would do with that.
Yeah, everything's on Peacock, Apple TV, Amazon Prime. I mean, I'm not as big a Yankee fan as I used to be, but it really pisses me off when the games are only on one of those things. Because even if I have it, I am not watching it on there out of just like spite.
I mean, it's a different thing. Like I personally do not have a cable box in my house. So I can watch on streaming services. Heck, with the insane local blackout rules and cable company problems, if I wanted to watch Devils games on ESPN Plus, that was if the Devils today were worth my time and money to watch.
God damn, I know. That's why my New Jersey Generals are 5-1. It's like Jersey finally has a good team here. It's like hallelujah! Finally, something's going right for our state when it comes to
in something that I have called minor league football.
And that's exactly what it is, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I went off on a rant on that yesterday on Sports Insiders. It's AAA football. Now, one thing that I will say that does piss a lot of people off, and this is something that I am more involved in because I write for the team, but in the New York area, there are two soccer teams. You have the Red Bulls, which are the New York Red Bulls, and then NYCFC. The Red Bulls operate off of SNY. If they're not on SNY, they're on SNY2. So there's basically, if the Mets are on, then they go to the second one. If for any reason they can't do that, then there's channel 206. So there is actually 3 different networks that they can be on. NYCFC, your reigning champion in MLS, the New York City team, if the Yankees are playing or the Nets are playing, then it goes automatically over to the app only. And it's only available on the Yes app. Now, last week, when I was trying to cover the game and I was trying to watch it to be able to get myself prepared for the post-game show and everything like that, and the press conference, the Yes app would not work on my TV. It said I'm not a subscriber. It worked on my phone, but it wouldn't work on there because apparently it was on ESPN Plus. When I went over to ESPN Plus, it said I'm blacked out. So for all of us, it turns out we could not watch it on our TVs using the Yes app on a Fire Stick. Yeah. We couldn't watch it on ESPN Plus where it was being broadcast. The only way that we could watch this game, and in my case, cover the game for the freaking press conference, was to watch it through my phone. This is the New York City team that is 20% owned by the Yankees and is the reigning MLS champion, coming in basically 4th place in the East, and then Cinderella, they're all the way up to win the championship last year. And this is the best that basically that team can get right now. It's an app that doesn't always work.
I mean, that's more of a question of where the Yes Network and the Yankees' priorities are. Which is
I know, but it's pissing off the fan base.
Is there a Yes 2 sub-channel like there is with SNY? Say if there's a Yankee game and a Nets game at the same time. Like
there is a Yes 2, but it's only located in like Queens, and not even all parts of Queens either. So it's only like I think like RSN Cable or Comcast may actually have the yes to, but here on Optimum they don't. And most places I see it on Reddit all the time. I see it on Reddit constantly where there's an issue where the fans can't watch the game itself.
I mean, it's all. This is part of the issue of going from traditional linear cable to streaming services. It's a problem throughout sports. These insane rights deals that have exclusivity, with the intention of, oh, you can't watch the game online because you can get a cable subscription and add the channel to get the package that has Yes Network, SNY, or whatever, and watch it there. But that's a big problem for a lot of teams where the cable companies, where they say to the cable companies, we want X per subscriber.
Yeah,
Comcast, Optimum, and whoever, they turn around and say, just as a real life example with the New Jersey Devils, the MSG network deal was up with Comcast. They go to Comcast and, as through the typical part of the negotiations, say, hey, we want X per subscriber. Comcast says, you want how much? And you're getting this much in ratings. We are not. It is not worth it for us, and we are not passing those costs on to our customers. Fuck off. And that's happened in a lot of places. Most notably with the Dodgers and Time Warner Cable a few years ago, where these crazy contracts and rights deals, which have exclusivity, therefore blocking streaming in certain locations, it's not good business practice to make your product harder to get to.
There it is. Yeah.
And then you wonder why people, especially younger people who never had a cord. Like, it's not cord cutting at this point. You have an entire generation of people that never had a damn cord.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So they don't have any kind of childhood nostalgia with baseball. Heck, I don't know anybody under 35 who gives one single lick about baseball.
At this point, no. And it's one of those things that, like I said, we've talked about this and basically how baseball has become and whether or not actually it's a sport that's going to last or it's going to ultimately fail. I lean towards failure. I think Star Trek Star Trek Deep Space Nine, that's where the future is going to go for baseball. Apparently, The Rock made a deal with Disney for the XFL, which is a genius move.
Yeah, that's why. That's also why Amazon has put in as much money as they have into Thursday Night Football, because that is the biggest scale of streaming only sporting events that we've seen so far. You're seeing a little bit. You're seeing it a little bit with the Apple TV deals with baseball as well for the Friday Night Baseball. So this is the future. The problem is that these teams are stuck in these contracts with the networks, and they're stuck. So it's for a lot of small market teams in particular, the Kansas City and Cincinnati's of the world, they don't have the money coming in. That's why they're not putting the money into product on the field.
Pretty much.
Why the second highest paid Cincinnati Reds player is Ken Griffey Jr.'s deferred payouts.
He was still worth it anyway. But anyway,
yeah.
We've talked about that one before, but
yeah,
I want to basically tell a story. So we're going to probably add this in going forward. Weird news of the world. So I came across a couple articles yesterday. I don't know if you did or not, but I want to ask you: do you know by any chance what a vault toilet is?
A vault toilet?
Yes.
No, can't say I do.
Okay. All right. So a vault toilet, very simply, is a toilet that's in the middle of the woods, usually a campground, it's that sort of thing. And it's essentially one notch above what an outhouse is. Unlike an outhouse, this is actually a sedentary thing in the middle of the woods, usually built as a little tiny room with a toilet. And then underneath is where all the collectibles go.
Mm-hmm.
After you use the toilet. It's actually an underground, basically, tank that's under there. Keep it, and they just flush it out. A woman recently was urged to go to the hospital as quickly as possible because she got stuck in one.
Ooh.
Yeah. So in this particular case, she was using it out in just northwest of Seattle, Washington, on top of Mount Walker in this case, when she was using it and inadvertently dropped her phone into the vault toilet.
Oh, just
Yeah. So yeah.
no.
So yeah, right there, right off the bat, her toilet has dropped into the gigantic shitter, and in her defense, she reached in to try and get it, but unfortunately couldn't quite reach far enough and kept leaning over and over and over
Oh no.
until she tipped in. Straight, just tipped straight on
Oh,
in, all
you
the way
thought you were
down.
having a bad day.
Yeah. She spent about 15 minutes down there before she was finally able to get her hands on her phone, in which case she calls
15
911.
minutes?
15 minutes to finally be able to reach her phone down there while she's stuck and unable to get out. She reaches in, she gets her phone, she calls 911 from inside the.
How does she get
She,
signal in there?
I guess it did it, I picked it up that way. But suffice it to say, she got a signal, and usually 911 signals are a little more, they're usually better signals than regular phone can be. But eventually EMS came out, whoever the rescuers came out, and all they had to do was basically put a wood underneath her feet. And then what they just simply did is she put her feet on the block and then just kind of just worked her way back up the pipe and then basically out to here, basically like this. Yeah. The only difference is a vault toilet is actually like a little tiny, basically little tiny house. But yes, she literally quite got stuck exactly like this. And when she finally got out, she was urged to immediately go. Yeah, that's exactly what a vault toilet looks like. So you can see basically you got the can right there, you got the little house, and then underneath all this stuff is collected. She was urged to go to the hospital immediately because the smell was so bad that she needed help to be able to get rid of the scent. So
Yeah.
she went to the hospital smelling like an outhouse.
Yeah, and not to mention all the bacteria and whatnot that you're swimming in for 15 minutes. So, yeesh.
Yeah.
My day just got way better.
Yeah. So that was one that we had locally. We do have a story here that's a little bit more positive. This is more of a Brandon thing, I think. Metallica, I'm pretty sure pretty well in some way, right?
Of course, duh.
Yeah, I was going to say, you basically did WSOU and pirate radio. You're Metallica. A woman down in Brazil in the middle of the concert gave birth at the concert while the band was playing Enter the Sandman.
Have you seen how much concert tickets cost lately?
Well, apparently she bought the tickets about 3 years back down in Brazil. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Right there. Enter the Sandman. Love it. She bought the tickets about 3 years back, got pregnant, was 39 weeks pregnant. So she was already way overdue at this point. Went to the concert anyway, and then her water broke at the concert, but she tried to wait it out as best she could. Tried to hold it, and the paramedics are like, you know what? We're going to have to do this right here. So they literally birthed her baby at the Metallica concert down in Brazil. She wanted to she joked about naming the kid James Ulrich in favor of basically James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich. But she has straight up become this sweetheart of the internet and of Metallica as well, because she had her kid at the concert. And
usually you hear more stories about making kids at concerts than actually having
concerts. That's and that probably happens a lot too. But she had the kid. Apparently in 2019, a woman gave birth during a Pink concert in Liverpool and decided to name the girl Dolly Pink. So okay, that's kind of nice. But cool to that,
Yeah, I mean, if you bought concert tickets 3 years in advance and you're waiting for that, I imagine Metallica doesn't go to Brazil very often, I'm sure. So who knows when or if they'd be coming around again. So I get it.
Yeah, so the fact that ended up happening.
I mean, you probably shouldn't do that, but I understand why somebody would.
But one of the things. I mean, here's my question in this case. you bought the tickets 3 years back. I understand that, they don't obviously perform down in South America that often, especially when they're 60s or whatever they are now. But if you're 39 weeks pregnant, do you still risk it anyway? I mean, obviously she gave birth at the concert, but
if you're a big enough fan, I guess so.
in some ways she is
like,
a big enough fan. Like I said, she's 3 weeks overdue at that point. I guess you just try and go because you paid for the tickets 3 years prior.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has different thresholds for when you give up on tickets for certain events. I mean, I had tickets to an outdoor concert this weekend. Once we saw that it was going to be 97 degrees on Saturday and we had lawn seats, the joke I made was that we're going to give up. We're going to try and give away. I tried giving away the tickets and nobody wanted them. It was that hot. Like, but just what's that?
What'd you have tickets for, or where?
Oh, it was the Barbecue concert with Disturbed and Pretty Reckless and a few other bands, and down in South Jersey.
Nice. Okay. So long concert.
Yeah. So it was good lineup, but I don't like them enough to risk spontaneously combusting on the lawn. Me or my partner do not do well with. Look at me. No, I fry. I'd be the color of your shirt within 20 minutes.
Yeah. And
from my partner, probably about 10 minutes. So
yeah, somehow she's lighter than the both of us, and that's impressive. It really is. So, let's see. Let me think here. I saw the type. Let's see. I think you should think more. Who the hell is even going to go try and get in the way of a pregnant mom overdue? How many has she killed in her wake getting into the concert?
True.
Yeah,
I imagine. There we go.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. When you're that big, I mean, obviously I think everybody's pretty much going to be nice to you about that. You got to, people will look at that and give you respect for going out, especially when you're 9, almost 10 months pregnant at this point.
The biggest, scariest club bouncer is not screwing around with a 9 months pregnant lady.
No. But I like I said, it blows my mind that she, would be willing to do this. But you know what? I get it. Coming back to the other story in this case, though, if you dropped your cell phone into a gigantic shitter of an outhouse, would you go get it?
Probably not. I would just take. I mean, you have cloud backups for a reason. Just get a new device, and but also how new is the phone? Like if I just got $1,000 phone last week, I may go dig in a little bit of shit to get it, but
Jeff was like, I'll go.
Which I do not get a phone that expensive, for the record, but no, I'm not digging in shit for 20 minutes for my phone.
I did drop my phone. Actually, I did drop my phone in a toilet about 11 years ago. The night that I got back from the final shoot day of Dark Knight Rises, I ended up dropping my phone into the toilet after I peed. And I went in and got it, and it kind of half worked, not particularly great, but eventually I had to go out and get another one anyway. But I was so pissed because it basically all the money that I earned from Dark Knight Rises pretty much went to the phone. I was like, fuck. I mean, I paid like $1,100 on that for like the 2-3 days, whatever it was. And then I had to go out and get a new phone, and that was the end of that. It was literally life or death. I was okay to die to save another, than sure, but I'd die after the phone call. But I mean, what I would love to get find out the 911 call on that. It's like 911. What's your emergency? I'm stuck in a toilet, ma'am. I would love to find this call.
It's 911 dispatch, so there's a tape of it somewhere.
Yeah, probably
usually they do release it or maybe just nobody's put in a Freedom of Information Act request to get the tape.
The article that I found did not actually mention the woman's name, and it could be because of that. I'm not sure, or just
I mean,
sheer
would you want to be
friggin'
known as a
embarrassment.
toilet lady? No. Yeah.
No.
Identity.
But oh my God, that's I don't do. That's the only two stories that I've got as far as weird. Did you have any or no?
I hadn't had a chance to look, unfortunately.
You know what it is? We're starting this off. We're trying something
Yeah.
out with weird news. So I'm gonna probably start pulling more as we go forward.
Yeah.
But there's basically a couple of weird news of the world. One local and one down in Brazil. One embarrassing and shit covered, and the other one involving a new life coming into the world.
Yeah.
To frankly a really awesome song.
Oh, there's one I actually have a tab open for, but this
All
is
right.
it isn't really weird, but it's cool and kind of it's a little out there. But this this woman in Philly found her grandmother's honeymoon clothes from 1952. And put it also probably shit covered. So this woman found her grandmother's clothes that she wore on her honeymoon in 1952, and they'd just been stuck in a suitcase since then. And they were surprisingly not shit covered, and still, they were preserved in this suitcase. So she got them out, and they fit her perfectly. So she she wore some of the clothes, and her grandmother was still alive, and she was beaming over this. So that's a positive, cool story. But just how crazy is that? Not only to find your grandmother's clothes from 70 years ago, but they fit the granddaughter.
Okay.
Yeah. That is the craziest part of the story to me. Especially since I never mind. I'll stop there. But but just it's the fact that the woman happened to be the same size as her grandmother in 1952, so
fully a thing.
Able to fit. That's incredible.
I do have a story that I just thought about right now, and Jeff being the okay, that one I didn't have. If you get the Philly fanatic to dance at your wedding, that's actually really cool. You see the little kid in the corner is really super excited by that too.
And at least it's the fanatic. If it was Gritty, he would just and clean out the open bar and run.
He'd punch the groom just randomly, yeah.
Clean out their Gritty would come in, clean out the open bar, punch the father of the bride, and run out.
Basically, yeah. Actually, maybe we should do that for Sports Den sometime. Worst and stupidest mascots, because don't forget the Yankees had a mascot back in the 70s, and that thing was just unbridledly awful. But I do have a story that actually is painful. You'll appreciate this. Jeff, being a comic book person, you were 100% going to appreciate this. So a guy was cleaning out his house, and inside his wall of the house that he had moved into, he's going through the wall. He's finding this weird little cove in there. And in that section, inside the wall itself, was a Superman #1. The original Action Comics of Superman. By the way, my grandmother gave me a set. She was gifted her wedding. She didn't like it, really let her go. Oh, nice. Okay.
A set of what? Just a set of clothes?
I guess so. Yeah, probably. So.
I mean, if it's higher end stuff, yeah, I get that.
If you know how much they cost, it makes more sense. Fair. Yeah, I mean, well, wedding clothes are expensive as crap anyway. Even if you're a guy and renting your tux, forget the wedding dress itself. But so this guy is clean. So the story centers around this guy is living in his house. He finds a section inside the wall, and inside that section of this house that he was living in was an Action Comic #1, the introduction to Superman, which is worth on average about $1 million. And he found it inside his wall. And when he took it out and he was starting to show people, his mother-in-law grabbed it and said, "Here, let me take a look at that." Ripped the cover right off it.
Oh,
yeah. Ripped the cover and dropped the value down to about $150,000, which is still not terrible.
I mean, it's still $150,000 you didn't have before, but
you had $1 million in your hand there. You had an Action Comic #1, and your mother-in-law devalues that thing by 85% in a single grab. Now that's your mother-in-law. You know, I have a mother-in-law. Not per se, but if you have a mother-in-law, there are certain things you have to be real careful on how you handle certain things and how you bring certain things to them.
I would
Um,
I would say that that's something that I could see my partner's mom doing, but not intentionally. Like, but that's the
yeah,
kind of accident. That's the kind of. But there's other reasons for that. But like, just she's just one of those people who are just like, oh, yeah, that's her. Like that's something that she would do. Like, so
the
that
equivalent.
I
We
could actually,
apologize for any inconvenience.
yeah, yeah, but just
Yeah.
I do some. I need to get it to dig around for it and get it authenticated. But I actually do have my dad's comic book collection from the 50s,
Nice.
which which I think has, if not the first one of the first Green Lantern issues.
Okay.
So I don't think it's worth $1 million, but it's and it's not in the best of shape, but might be a few
It might
bucks.
still be it might still be worth something for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because
nice.
he actually, because when years ago when my dad was still alive, he actually did call around to one of the comic book shops in the
Mhm.
area, and the guy he got on the phone was basically the real life version of comic book guy from The Simpsons. Like, oh, what could you possibly have that's worth anything? And he said, oh, well, I have this, this, and this, and there was just dead silence on the other end of the phone. So he said, all right, thank you. You told me, you've confirmed for me that I do have something that is worth anything. And since you were such an asshole, I am not selling it to you. Click.
Exactly. Yeah, Action Comics #1. Superman, before he had the ability to fly. At that point, he could only jump. Weird little truth. Original Green Lantern, too, yeah. The hell's he fighting there? Is that a clown?
Looks like a giant clown, yeah. It's like a clown shooting lasers.
God, DC had a hard time back then, man. Yeah. I don't know. Wasn't there was a Batman series where he was dressing in different colored outfits, where he was like green Batman and pink Batman and a yellow Batman?
But yeah, the ones I have, and they also have my dad's name in it, like because they have like my dad's name and address on them. I guess if found, please return to blah blah blah. So that I imagine cuts the value of it, but still a few bucks.
Nice, but
yeah, I got to find that box and see if I have the Green Lantern Weird Clown issue, and then
see what it's worth. On issues worth, probably worth some coin.
Yeah.
See, let's see, what is this? Nerd Move of the Year needs to be given. Oh yeah, you know what we should do? Maybe next week we do Nerd Move of the Year.
I mean, many of our colleagues just on the regular probably qualify for such awards.
Yeah. I mean, I was a proud geek back in the 70s and the 80s, but I was geek before it was trendy, okay?
Yeah.
I programmed in BASIC in 1979, because I learned, because I was a nerd that. See, there's pink Batman, orange Batman.
Your high school yearbook picture, you look just like Dwight Schrute.
Dude, I get that a lot, man. And it's funny because actually hang on a sec. I have them over here. This is going to be weird because I have my contacts in. But if I put the glasses on and I take the hat off right now, yeah, if you see basically what I look like, I still wear these glasses regularly because I've had them for 30 years. They're comfortable. And if I'm just sitting around the house on my laptop, what do I even care anyway? But yeah, this is 100% awesome.
Price of prescription is still good.
It still is, Yeah, my eyes haven't crapped out that badly over the years. But in this case, I'm just wearing contacts. But here's my thing. If I'm going to buy contacts, I'm only going to use them for when I have to use them. If I'm just sitting here in the house and I'm just working on the laptop or watching crap, I don't really, and Robin doesn't care. If I just sit there and wear that, it prolongs the life of the contacts that I bought, which I paid like $400 for.
Yeah, I mean, I have an older pair of. I do that all the time. Like if I'm just whatever around the house, I'll wear an older pair. It's strong, but also like going back and forth. You can't go back and forth too much in prescription, otherwise it'll fuck with your eyes more.
Yeah. when I can do it without crying. So, are they calling you honey, me honey, or Jeff honey? I don't even know who this is. No, it could be all of them.
It's me.
Okay. Okay. So Oh, so basically you're gin and juice. Okay, so you're talking to yourself now. Okay, got it. All right.
Mhm.
So 25 long boxes of comics. Okay, Jeff, we're gonna have to talk about that one. But I think for right now, I think we're gonna start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Any comments before we preview and hawk out all the stuff we got tomorrow?
I'm waiting for the She-Hulk Guardians of the Galaxy crossover now.
That's no. I'm sure the comics have already. I'm sure the Marvel Comics has already done that. So,
Mhm.
yes, it is Boss. Yes, Boss. My old. So yeah, I think. We were just talking about. I just drew a blank on that after seeing the Boss. So, anyway, I totally just completely just blanked on what we were just talking about. I'm done for tonight, man. But tomorrow, basically on Sportsnet at 4 o'clock, on the Stream Punk Sports side of things, we're going to be talking some Formula One, a little soccer, a little lacrosse, and then on Tales from the Film Set at 7 o'clock on that side of the fence, we're going to be previewing two things that are coming out on Friday: Obi-Wan series and Stranger Things season 4, which I am really excited about the second one more than the first one. Plus, also for Wednesday night for Bad Movie Beatdown on the tail side, Dragon Ball Evolution. We're watching that one this time. Yeah. Last week was what? Let's see. The first week we had. Oh yeah, remember. First week we had Legend of Chun-Li 2 weeks ago, which was just strangely just boring. You made Street Fighter boring. And then last week we had The Last Airbender, the M. Night Shyamalan one, which was terrible because Avatar: Last Airbender is my favorite animated series of all time,
Yeah.
and I didn't see that until I was 40. So to me, this meant so much, and to see what M. Night Shyamalan did with that was just tripe.
Right.
And
didn't it have Asif Manvi, who was at the time the Daily Show, one of the
the
correspondents,
Daily Show was in this,
playing
yes.
like one of the main bad guys or something?
Yes. And I mean, we tore this apart. And me, like I said, being such a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I went back and like watched Nostalgia Critic and Cinema Sins and all this stuff which tore it apart. As soon as it was done with the movie, I'm like, I'm going to go back and watch these again. And they all said the same thing. It's like in the movie, or, I'm sorry, in the TV series, this is what they did with Avatar: Last Airbender. But yeah, that's this time around.
They just took the TV series and just shot it to hell. I didn't watch the TV series, but I know people that did, and they were all highly upset.
You can't take 400 plus minutes of television series for season 1 and turn it into a less than 2-hour movie. It felt more like a synopsis, and as a result, it was trash. It was unbridled garbage. So this week, like I said, on Wednesday night, 5 p.m. on Tales from the Film Set, on that side of the fence, we're doing Dragon Ball Evolution and tearing that to unbridled shit. And by the way, I just want to point out we have a laundry list of movies that are upcoming. We have been requested like 12 new movies to come out.
Oh, I'm sure
this one.
There's so many out there. You got material for years.
Oh God! And Bad Movie Beatdown on the tail side has got so much stuff there. I can't look at these images. God, I hate that movie. Oh, I know. Yeah, so Avatar or just The Last Airbender was just terrible. And it's funny because the A camera guy from Orange is the New Black that I worked with for 3 years was the guy who was like the B camera guy on that movie, and I never forgave him. One last comment. We'll take this. Specifically waited a bit until you'd finished talking about that offense to humanity. Avatar: The Fakest Feature. Oh my God, that was terrible. Just simply the rock scene. The rock prison where they're doing the dance and throw one freaking rock. So anyway, we're going to wrap this up at this point. Thank you, JD. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff, for the pictures and the comments and everything like that. You were freaking awesome as always. Thanks to you guys as well. And we'll top it off with basically a good Hulk in this case here. Lou Ferrigno, who came in second, I think, in Mr. Universe to Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger. And is kind of a better real life version of Hulk than She-Hulk is. So we'll see what happens with that. Maybe if they fix that around. I think they will. I think they will come back and fix that eventually. But oh boy, that was bad. So thanks as always. I appreciate